A recent study on climate change is predicting a much hotter decade ahead for planet Earth. It took about a century for the Earth's average temperature to go up just 1 degree, but scientists now say it could increase by another ½ degree in just 10 years. Real evidence of climate change is sometimes hard to see, but not in the Arctic. Daniel Seberg followed scientists studying the effects of global warming there. His journey took him from Nova Scotia up through Canada's Northwest Passage. What he discovered far away matters a lot to us right here. Tonight, Daniel begins a special series, Journey to the Top of the World.
This is where the midnight summer sun kisses the horizon and never sets. The land of 24-hour daylight is home to some of the world's most beautiful and most endangered environments.
There's not a whole lot of people that have been here, and not a whole lot of people have seen things like this.
What you might expect to see, and what you might not. That's a muskox, a curious animal you'll only find here. It's scenery like this that continues to astonish Arctic veterans, like Canadian Coast Guard officer Brian Gibbons, who's been coming up here for 23 years. But there's something else he's not seeing. Ice.
It's definitely not the amount that used to be here. The concentrations are smaller. There's a lot more open water.
What Gibbons sees is even clearer from space. This was Arctic sea ice in 1979. Here it is in 2005. This summer, scientists saw the most rapid reduction in sea ice in nearly 30 years.
Take her back up to 10 knots.
Going up.
3209.
Troubling observations like these brought together an international team to find out how dramatic changes here affect our global climate. They're making their way through the Arctic Ocean, a body of water larger than the United States, traveling aboard the Canadian icebreaker Louis S. St. Laurent, because while there's less ice, it's far from gone.
Things are happening really rapidly in the Arctic.
And scientists are trying to keep up. Geneticist John Nelson is leading the expedition, studying the water and its creatures, like these starfish, to see how climate change affects even the tiniest organisms.
If we understand what things may be doing in the Arctic, because it's tied to climate pretty much everywhere on the globe, we'll be able to understand what may be happening if things warm up.
In fact, 11 of the past 12 years have been the warmest worldwide since 1850. And of course, warmer air impacts life both in the sea and on the land. Here on Devon Island, the glacier behind me is slowly making its way into the sea. As that happens, it can affect everything from the migration patterns of animals to the amount of light that's reflected back into the atmosphere. Think of Arctic ice as a mirror, reflecting some of the sun's power back into space and helping to keep the Earth. But as ice disappears, temperatures go up and more ice melts. We saw temperatures averaging close to 40 degrees. And while glaciers like this one melt and freeze annually, a recent study found they're getting thinner and pouring more water into our oceans. This may look like a river, but it's runoff from the glacier. And even a few inches added to the world's sea level could affect millions of people who live along coastlines.
Climate change is something you can bank on.
The question for oceanographer Eddie Carmack is how much the warming trend is being accelerated by humans, and how much is part of a natural cycle.
If we had been here, the same spot, 10,000 years ago, we wouldn't be standing on sea ice. We'd probably be on a glacier. If we went back 120,000 years, we might be treading water.
It's our immediate future that has Carmack and others gathering hard data to better predict what lies ahead for those of us living south of the Arctic Circle. Daniel Seberg, CBS News, off the coast of Devon Island, the Arctic.
Tomorrow, from plankton to polar bears, how global warming affects the food chain. And to learn more about Daniel's trip and check out some more amazing pictures, you can go to cbsnews.com, click on Journey to the Top of the World.